After the Soviet Union broke apart in 1991, Russia was undergoing big changes. The country was going through many changes, especially in its economy. During this time, a group of powerful and rich people emerged, known as oligarchs. These individuals had a big impact on Russian history and how the country developed. In the early 1990s, Russia changed from a government-controlled economy to a free market system. This change, called privatization, aimed to get rid of state-owned companies that were losing money and in debt, and make room for privately owned businesses to help the economy grow. However, because there weren't clear rules in place, some people with special connections to the government took advantage of the situation. These people, called oligarchs, used their ambition, business smarts, and resources to become powerful and shape a new era in Russia. This affected not only the government, but also the lives of regular Russian people. The Russian business landscape was changing rapidly. Some wealthy and influential people strategically invested in growing industries like energy, natural resources, media, and telecommunications, making them even richer. The government tried to give everyone a fair chance to invest by issuing bonds, but not many people could afford to buy them. Only a few, often with ties to the KGB, had the money and connections to become the backbone of the Russian economy. It wasn't just money that helped these people become so powerful. They also formed strong political alliances, which allowed them to influence government decisions, make profitable deals, and protect their interests. In Russia, there are a lot of valuable natural resources like oil, natural gas, and minerals. Some very wealthy and powerful people, called oligarchs, took advantage of this and got even richer by taking control of big energy companies. They also used complex financial tricks to make even more money and strengthen their influence. But as they became more powerful, they started to have disagreements among themselves and with the government. When Vladimir Putin became the leader in 1999, things changed, and there were debates about how much power these wealthy individuals should have. Many wealthy and powerful individuals supported Boris Yeltsin for a second term as president, allowing them to keep control of the country. As Yeltsin's presidency neared its end, Vladimir Putin gained popularity and eventually became the new leader. This change marked a significant shift in power and led to a struggle between Putin and the wealthy elite, known as the oligarchs. The oligarchs, who had a lot of influence due to their connections and control over the economy, found themselves in a tough battle with Putin. He wanted to reduce their power and take back control of important industries. This led to legal battles and investigations aimed at making the oligarchs give up their assets and control. The oligarchs fought back using their wealth and influence, using legal tactics, political strategies, and media campaigns to protect their businesses and win public support. As the power struggle between Putin and the rich and powerful people in Russia played out, a new group called the Siloviki became increasingly important. The Siloviki were made up of people with backgrounds in security and law enforcement who were fiercely loyal to Putin. They came from Russia's security forces and represented a new kind of authority and allegiance. Unlike the wealthy and influential oligarchs who relied on their money and connections, the Siloviki had power based on security and their unwavering support for Putin. The term Siloviki comes from the Russian word for person of power or force person, emphasizing their ties to security and strength. Members of the Siloviki came from the military, intelligence agencies, police, and other security organizations, giving them a strong sense of discipline and a practical approach to governing. The Siloviki were a powerful group in Russia with a lot of influence over the government. They were made up of people with backgrounds in security and law enforcement, and they focused on keeping things stable and under control. Some well-known members of this group were Igor Sechin, who was a close friend of President Putin and had a big role in Russia's energy industry, and Dmitry Medvedev, who was Russia's president from 2008 to 2012. The Siloviki were very loyal to Putin and his ideas, and those who supported him rose to power. But if they disappointed him, they faced serious consequences, especially after the war in Ukraine began. Some of them even met with fatal accidents. Before the war, there were also power struggles within the group, and those who weren't strong enough were pushed out or punished. The rise of the Siloviki led to a more centralized and security-focused style of governing in Russia. And at that time, rich and powerful people in Russia had to decide whether to support or oppose Putin. In the midst of Russia's political drama, the experiences of powerful business leaders during Vladimir Putin's time in office show the risks and rewards for those who opposed or supported the government. One notable example is Mikhail Khodorkovsky, who used to be a big player in the Russian oil industry. He openly criticized Putin's leadership and funded opposition groups. But Putin didn't take kindly to this challenge. In 2003, Khodorkovsky was arrested, and his oil company, Yukos, was taken apart through legal means. As a result, Khodorkovsky spent 10 years in prison. This story is a clear warning that going against Putin can have serious consequences. Boris Berezovsky, a powerful businessman and media owner, used to be a big deal in Russian politics. But when he started speaking out against Putin, he had to leave Russia and live in the UK. He tried to gather support against Putin from abroad, but it didn't work out well, and he died mysteriously in 2013. Another person, Alexei Navalny, is known for fighting against corruption in Russia. He has been arrested several times, faced threats, and even survived an attempt on his life, which people think was planned by the Russian government. Navalny's strong stand against corruption and his open criticism of the Russian government have made him a symbol of opposition, but also a target for the authorities. The story of Alexander Litvinenko shows how far the Russian government might go to silence its critics. Litvinenko, a former KGB officer who spoke out against Putin's government, was poisoned with a deadly substance in London in 2006. This caused an international outcry and raised concerns about the methods used to target opponents. On the other hand, some wealthy individuals who supported Putin benefited from their connections. For example, Roman Abramovich, a billionaire with strong ties to Putin, was able to expand his business interests, especially in the energy sector. His loyalty to the Kremlin was rewarded with influence and protection. Similarly, other wealthy individuals like Mikhail Prokhorov, Alisher Usmanov, and Viktor Vekselberg, who had close ties to the Russian government, also saw their fortunes grow during Putin's presidency. Their success showed that those who supported Putin were able to live very lavish lifestyles. Roman Abramovich is often known for owning Chelsea Football Club and living a very extravagant lifestyle. He has big yachts, fancy houses, and expensive art. He's a close friend of Putin and has mixed his business with politics, making him a big deal in both worlds. Abramovich's extravagant lifestyle extends to his luxury yachts, which are like floating palaces on the water. One of his most famous yachts is called the Eclipse, which is one of the biggest and fanciest private yachts in the world. It has things like multiple swimming pools, a special dance hall, and even a defense system for missiles. His private jets, like a customized Boeing 767, let him easily go from sea to sky while still looking exclusive and fancy. Mikhail Prokhorov was a fascinating and diverse individual with interests ranging from business to entertainment. He was known for owning the Brooklyn Nets basketball team and dabbling in politics by running for the Russian presidency in 2012. His luxurious lifestyle was evident through his extravagant residences and lavish celebrations. Prokhorov was also a frequent traveler, owning a fleet of private jets that he used for his various endeavors around the world. Amidst the current tense situation between Russia and Ukraine, the lives of wealthy Russian business leaders who are close to President Putin have taken a big hit. The European Commission and a task force made up of G7 nations and the European Union have been working together to impose sanctions on these individuals. The goal is to freeze their assets and make it harder for them to move their money around. These sanctions are not only affecting the personal wealth of these business leaders, but they're also making it difficult for Putin to fund his military activities. As a result, the luxurious lifestyles these business leaders once enjoyed are now under scrutiny and no longer as secure as they used to be. The recent changes in their situation showed that the powerful people in Russia are facing difficulties maintaining their position in a world that is rapidly changing. The attempts of these wealthy individuals to adapt to this new reality revealed a complicated mix of interests. Some of them, like Mikhail Friedman, actively tried to persuade for the removal of restrictions, reaching out to opposition figures and looking for compromises. However, it's unclear how effective these efforts were, as the restrictions unintentionally exposed the vulnerable position of these powerful individuals within the global financial system. While the power and influence of these wealthy individuals may have been disrupted temporarily, the bigger question is whether they, who have gained enormous wealth through their connections to the Russian government, can change the direction of Putin's rule. The restrictions, along with their deep involvement in the power structures of Putin's Russia, made their influence more uncertain than ever. While we can only speculate about what it will take for the Russian wealthy individuals to stand up against Vladimir Putin, we do know for sure that the Russian president won't easily give up, especially when he is surrounded by one of the most elite protective forces in the world.